This episode of the What's Happening Delco podcast is brought to you by Delco Meets for Business. Check us out on Meetup, register, and attend one of our fantastic networking meetings, which we meet on the first and third Thursday at the Brick House in Ridley Park, and the second and fourth Thursday at the Upper Crust in Newtown Square. We look forward to seeing you there. What's happening, Delco? I'm Rich Shane, and welcome to the What's Happening Delco podcast. Today, I'm joined by Chaitali Desai. Chaitali, welcome to the podcast.
Rich, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
I'm just meeting you yesterday at the Delco Meets for Business meeting. Gave me some insight into a little bit about what you do. But now we get to introduce you to the What's Happening Delco podcast audience. So you tell everybody, Chaitali, what is it you do?
It was a pleasure meeting you guys yesterday at the meeting also. So I am a business and success mentor, typically for high achievers, the driven who want to break through to that next level and they kind of feel stuck, or they keep banging their head up against that invisible ceiling. And they know that there's more for them, but they just don't know how to make that shift. I help them make that shift.
What can people expect when they work with you, Chaitali?
Oh, goodness. What can they expect? Well, I'm very to the point in a loving, kind way, but we get to business because I think society, there's a lot of hand-holding going on and it keeps people back. So working with me, we break down your human design. I use hypnosis and other energetic principles to help you shift, get into alignment, and get out there and kick ass.
For you, how is this something that's been, when you were young, as a child? Is this something you've discovered recently? How did you come to this focus of how you help people?
So I think I've always been service driven. However, I would say in the last 5-6 years, I've always been a dabbler of personal development, but I went all in. I actually started in network marketing, and network marketing is something that I think everyone should try at least once in their life. It's the ultimate way to start to really develop yourself, your personal development. Through that, I was exposed to so many different networks, avenues, people, and that's when I found human design. Human design, for if you guys don't know what it is, it takes the Hindu chakra system, it takes the astrology, the Chinese I Ching, and the Kabbalah. It brings it all together and it developed basically like your blueprint of your body, how your energy works, how your energy centers work, and how you can step in and really get to know yourself to put yourself on the right path in all areas of life. And as I started living my own experiment, I was like, more people need to know about this. So I'm sure like many of your listeners, I went down the rabbit hole. I found out everything I could about it, lived my experiment, and now I use it in my mentoring. Because I feel like the more we get to know who we were before we were conditioned to be, man, the sky's the limit when you are in a self-alignment like that.
You mentioned living your own experiment. Share some of those experiences that you had that gave you the understanding that you were on the right path with this and how to help people through your experience as well.
Yeah, so when I first started, doing something like this was not something I would not put myself in the room, let alone talk to people. Not that I didn't have things to say, I just didn't feel that self-confidence. I did not have that mindset of, hey, this is what I want and I'm going to go after it. I wouldn't say, let me take that back. It's not that I didn't have that full mindset. I just had, if it didn't work out right away, I would give up. So I didn't have the keep coming back and refining aspect of it. And by learning about how my energy works, how I get to show up in all my boldness, I don't like to use pop culture terminology, but man, has it been a game changer. Like just to have that innate or that level of self-confidence that, hey, this feels right, so I'm going to go down this road. Or to even come to a network event like yesterday, not really knowing anybody, I would not have done that in the past. So as I started to really delve into who I really am and how I can show up in the world to not only build my business, but from that mental success factor, it's been phenomenal, Rich.
What I think is fascinating is we meet people where they are, not who they have been or who they will be, but we meet them at a point where they're presenting themselves. And based on, that self-confidence aspect, I would have the impression that, Chaitali, you've always been self-confident. You've always been assertive. You've always been bold. But I'm getting a sense that this is not somebody that has been to where they showed up yesterday, to where this person walked in the room and they owned the room in a way. They had that self-confidence. Was that something for you that was the most important thing to achieve through this discovery of self?
To achieve, but I also think to allow, right? Especially being first generation minority woman, you don't, and I'm not laying fault or blame or any of that to anywhere or to anybody, but you get here and you're just like, okay, I have to learn new ways. You have to assimilate pretty quickly. So you don't fully get to learn who you are and in turn express who you are. So quote unquote, being the good girl following those lanes, or even for men, it's this very similar concept. You don't fully get to express just how bold you can be, and not because it's not given permission, but there's no time for that, right? So having gone through this level of self-exploration, I had to cultivate it, the confidence, the boldness, just the whole thing of owning the fact that I am in the room, and not only being in the room, but being able to communicate effectively. And part of that was also through hypnosis, clearing out the old stories, clearing out those limiting beliefs, so that as I can come into the room, I can say, okay, I don't know anybody really, but I can still be in the room and hold a conversation and feel that no matter what happens, I have left the room more positive than before I came in. Does that make sense?
That makes perfect sense.
Okay.
Because I experienced that. The room became more positive because you were there and you left that energy behind. So I fully understand that.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. It was you guys are doing an amazing job with that space and creating that sense of safety for people to come and be vulnerable.
Thank you. Because that's not necessarily something that you find at a business networking event. And I appreciate the observation there. And that's not something that I would have thought of, but it really, that's a point that I really appreciate. So thank you for bringing that up. I really appreciate it. That just made my day. Thank you.
Yeah, no, I mean it. It takes a lot. That takes a lot of intentional work to say, okay, we're going to create this space for other entrepreneurs, business owners to come in and to have real discussion. I mean, that's not something small. So hats off to you guys.
Thank you. You introduced hypnosis. And one of the observations I make is I really believe you bring this message of hypnosis unlike anything I've ever heard of. No one's talked about hypnosis to me the way you talk about hypnosis. And is that something through this structure, or is that something that you brought in to the modality of how you're helping people?
Funny enough, it's actually a combination. So in human design, for your listeners that do know it, I'm a 5-2 manifesting generator with a sacral authority. That 5-2 piece, we can take like very complicated topics, ideas, esoteric thoughts, and bring it down to the practical tacticals, so that you realize, oh, this isn't scary. This isn't something that's out there. So let's take hypnosis, for example. We are always going in and out of a hypnotic state as human beings. To go to sleep, you pass through hypnosis to go to sleep, because hypnosis is about brainwave activity. It's not about mind control or magic or voodoo or any of that. You are literally putting yourself in hypnosis every day. You want to know the coolest one? The coolest example?
Yeah, I want to know.
Let's say you think, oh man, I forgot to buy milk. So you get in your car and you're like, okay, I'm going to go down to the Acme. And all of a sudden you're at Acme. You remember getting in your car? but you don't remember actually getting to how you got to the grocery store. It's called hypnotic driving, and we do it every day because our subconscious mind knows that, oh, okay, we're just going down to Acme, that's safe, and we take the left, we take a right, we go straight, boom, we're there. To go to sleep, you have to pass through, so there's 4 brainwave activities, alpha, beta, theta, delta. Delta is sleep. Right before sleep is theta, and that's where we sit in hypnosis. But you must pass through that in order to go to sleep. So it's something very natural, something we do day in, day out. And I really hope that this conversation really is an eye-opener and be like, oh my goodness, I'm already doing it to myself. Self-talk is another form of self-hypnosis. The question is, what are you actually saying to yourself? Is it building you up or is it breaking you down?
I am you've got me thinking so many things, and I really appreciate, this is refreshing. The conversation, you're refreshing, and this is why, introducing you and, having more people know about what you do and how you're able to help them. What do you believe sets you apart in your practice and how you help people?
I think it's the combination of modalities, and then again, my ability to make it practical. Even on my complimentary calls, you walk away with actionable steps. My goal really is have you heard of the ripple effect?
Oh, yeah.
You touch one person, they touch the next person. And by that impact alone, you change society for the better. And that's one of my pillars. It's to create that ripple effect. So by the time the next generation comes to be, or it gets to our age or our experience level, they're already at that space in humanity where they're like, oh man, I'm doing good. You're doing good. Let's celebrate it. Now I'm doing good. You're not doing so good. Meh, too bad, right? That's a completely different frequency and a different way to approach life. And I want that to be normal, where we all get to feel good. We all get to that next level. But here's the tools.
If we're all winning, it's okay. It raises society, it raises community, it raises our own appreciation for each other versus this competitive nature that for me to win, you have to lose. And
exactly.
I don't understand that. Now, look, there are levels of competition. And I think there are some things with competition that make us better. It sharpens the saw. It helps us be more aware of what we can get better at. But the way you put that, hey, look, you're doing well, I'm doing well. That's okay. Let's all do well. I love that. It's not you versus me. It's the collective raising the vibration of the world, the environment, to this more positive harmony, this positive reflection on who we can possibly be, right?
Yeah, 100%. And that's actually a really great point that you bring up. Right now, there's a real thing that's going on called toxic positivity. You may be having a situation, but you just get to pretend, it's all rainbows and butterflies. I don't promote that. If you have something going on, let's deal with what's going on. That's exactly what coming to a mentor helps you do. Because sometimes you're so close to the situation, emotionally, mentally, visually, you don't see any other way, right? So you sit and you stew, and instead of being able to move to that next level, it's almost like it holds you back, and then you start building those walls again. And, we all know that negative path that can happen. So I don't believe in toxic positivity. You got stuff going on. Let's talk about it. Let's deal with it. And then let's move on. I think to answer your question, what makes me different is I'll give you the space to talk about it, but I don't allow you to sit in it. You probably did that enough on your own. That's not what you do with me.
Chaitali, how do people contact you? How do they connect with you? So this little piece of the pie that they've had a chance to enjoy, they get to experience the whole pie.
Yeah, for sure. So you can connect with me all across social, and I'm happy to share those links with you. And then for your listeners, Rich, I would love to offer 15% off of my hypnosis sessions if this is something that you're finding like, oh, this could probably really help me in many different forms. I'm happy to offer 15% promotional discount for your listeners for the month of, we won't put a time limit on it. Let's keep it open. Off my package sessions, because as much as I want to say, hypnosis is a fast, you get the results pretty quickly. We want to make sure they solidify. And this is just a great way to make that happen and get to that next level. And then my website is ChaitaliBDesai.com. Those are easy ways to get a hold of me.
Spell that out so people, there's a little struggle there if I'm spelling phonetically.
It's CHAITALIB, D for David, ES for Sam, AI.com.
Perfect. And on those social media platforms, where can they connect with you on those?
Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Pinterest, TikTok, almost all the social platforms. It's one of my specialties.
Chaitali B Desai as well?
Yep.
All right. Spelled the exact same way as you would your website.
Yes, 100%.
Now, you offered that 15% discount. That was very nice. They can type in at the checkout code, "What's Happening Delco," and yes, they're going to experience this in a broader scope. Well, we are in Delco, so I want to make sure that we, this is Delco. So let's talk Delco.
Yeah.
How do you explain Delco to somebody that is not from here or who has never experienced Delco?
Oh, that's so interesting because I'm new to the Delco area, right? Relatively speaking, I have found it really inviting and I found it warm. And I find people, once you get the opportunity to chat with them, they're open to wanting to learn more about you and to have real conversation. I don't want to say down to earth, but around like that kind of atmosphere and environment that I've experienced so far.
You're on your way to a session or a networking event, and you have this craving for a cheesesteak. Do you have a go-to place for a cheesesteak that you've found in Delco?
No, I haven't yet. I'm still finding my way around. Do you have any recommendations?
If you listen to our podcast, we have a number of them that do a number of guests that talk about where they go and their go-to. And a good friend of the podcast is Cheesesteak Adventure, and he's given us a total list. Jim Pappas has given us a total list of places to go. So listen to the Jim Pappas episode, and he'll give you a ton of places to go in Delaware County. All right, so you haven't found that cheesesteak option yet, but have you found a pizza option that's a go-to for you and your family yet?
Oh, so we like Pinocchio's, and we like Providence Pizza, and there's one other one. Oh, no, I think it's Providence Pizza and Pinocchio. That's what we've been going back and forth. But again, we're new and we're still experimenting and taste testing our way through Delco.
All right. You may be new, but I'm sure you can answer this question. If you have a convenience store need, are you stopping at Wawa or Royal Farms?
Wawa. Even I know that one.
If you have friends or family coming in from out of town, you want to give them that Delco experience. I know you're fairly new and maybe you want to experience this with them. Where might you be taking them, or where would you send them?
Oh, whatever is happening that weekend. I like to use the Google events kind of a thing and find my way. We've done downtown media. We've done Ridley Park area. Even that, we're still experimenting our way through. I think you're just going to have to take my full answer. We're still learning.
Perfect. I mean, so we meet people where they are, and this is what we're talking about. You're still getting to know Delco, and in time you'll become the Delco expert. So that would be fine. We'll check back in with Chaitali and all things Delco that you know now.
That would be awesome.
Who mentors you? Who motivates you?
Who motivates me? Honestly, it's my family drives me. They motivate me to keep showing up and to go bigger and to go bolder. I have a vision of what I want to create for everybody who comes from me and who comes after me. And that's what keeps me going. Even on the days, as an entrepreneur, there's days where it's amazing and there's other days where it's like, oh, did I really ask to do this to myself? And I just come back to my hardcore, very personal why. Everyone who's come from me and come after me, they get to experience life the way I see it in my head. And I will be that change agent that helps create it.
I love it. I'm so grateful for this time with you today, Chaitali. Is there anything that we haven't talked about today on the podcast? Anything you want listeners to know about you or the work that you do that we haven't covered today?
Sure. If you're interested in learning more about me, I have a podcast. It's called the Soul Mastery Lounge. It's going through a name change. It's going through an evolution, just as I'm going through that next level evolution myself. You get to hear more about different topics. I break down human design, mentorship, how to network, business strategy. So it's a wide range, but I think those who are driven, it will speak to them. And those that are looking to continue to evolve and grow themselves from a personal development standpoint is a great way for more complementary content to really get to that next level.
Chaitali, thank you so much for being a friend of What's Happening Delco. I said, again, grateful for your time today and sharing what you do with the Delco community and the world. And we look forward to the growth development and how you can help us Delconians, be the best version of who we can be.
Thank you so much, Rich. I totally appreciate this time, and thank you for hosting me and having me on.
Thank you.